Are we going live?
We're live.
Oh, wait, wait,
Live-ish.
Live.
wait.
Check that out.
Oh, wait.
Keep it going live.
Okay.
Sorry, it's backwards.
And we're live.
You got it right on it. Episode 20. What the fuck are we on? 6 or something? 7?
I don't have a washing marker, but
Oh,
the
my
volume
goodness.
goes to 11.
We're turned up. This is 27. Oh, jeez. All right.
Wow.
So, yeah, Taylor did the thing. Put the clip together. Nice. Welcome to episode 27. Slowest Fast RC podcast. Joining us today, a veteran of the sport that I've been have the privilege to start getting to know. Jason Schreffler here joining us. Taylor, you want to talk about some things we'll be going over?
Yeah, we'll do a big introduction with Jason. We got a couple upcoming races to close out the end of our outdoor year. We got a couple hot takes to lead into. Alex, what else do you got?
That is pretty much it. And then I want to Elite was down. What was that? Shaw's RC track down in Oklahoma, right? Or
Oklahoma.
we'll touch on
Shaw's
it more, but yeah.
Truck Nats or something like that.
Yeah, the Elite was down there covering that, and I want to share some sweet footage from that and get all excited about it. But without further ado, I'm going to roll the disclaimer, and then we will jump into it.
Disclaimer. You're about to listen/watch a podcast hosted by a group of friends who tend to use vulgar language and profanity, and also enjoy pounding adult beverages. Viewer discretion is advised. Lastly, we may be making some bold statements. All views and statements made in this podcast do not reflect the views of any sponsors, guests, followers, or any supporters of this podcast. So be cool and don't get offended. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy.
Oh my gosh!
We're back. All right, so
All right.
go ahead, Taylor. Take the floor.
Tonight we're joined by Jason Treffler. Jason, I've had the privilege to know you from racing through quite a few local tracks, and for several years now at least. How long have you actually been doing this now, Jason?
Oh my God, man. Putting an age to me now. I mean, 45 now, so what, 2025. I think I started racing 1994, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was 14. God, you're going back so long that some of the stuff I don't even remember, but I was always into, tinkering and RC cars and that stuff. My dad bought me a Blackfoot when I was like 10 years old, and
Nice.
that got to build that. That was really cool. And you get kind of stuck on that. But then there were a couple of years didn't do anything, and then it was like one of his buddies bought a Bullink Legend car, and at the time Trains and Lanes had a flat carpet track. He's like, "Oh, you should go and try this. My buddy wants you to drive it." Like, and as soon as you put me, in a competition kind of deal, I was like, "Ooh, this is fun." And it's been, wow. So yeah, well over 30 years of this.
Oh. Jason, do you consider yourself a pro racer?
I would say at a time I was.
Yeah.
I was never in a position to be paid to do this.
Okay.
So and if at any point you guys get chicky on here at all, he and I talk all the time about this. We used to laugh about it because it kind of went through phases. You did oval, then went to road course,
Okay.
then went to off-road, back to road course, back to off-road. But there were periods of time where, road course got real big and you could potentially be paid to do that. Well, I was always in it in the wrong time. And then I switched to off-road. Yeah, you could get a sponsorship, but you weren't going to get a paycheck. But and East Coast doesn't help either. If you were West Coast, and doing well, that's a different story. You could probably get picked up by somebody. But even now, like to this day, no, I don't consider myself a pro. But I do try to compete with them. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's,
Definitely.
even
I
at
have
my
that
age,
written
like,
down.
Yeah, I think trying's an understatement.
you're always racing expert open classes or whatever they want to classify it, and you're always pretty much in the A main racing with the top guys that are there paid full time. So
Yeah, and I mean, as long as I can do it and still enjoy it, and be in those pro classes, and those guys certainly don't mind. It's not like I'm out there causing trouble. Um, so, and there are times when I know my stuff is on that I can compete. But it's got to be meant to be there, because those guys, it's wow, the ability for them to repeat fast lap after fast lap after fast lap, and I can do it once and be like, woohoo!
Yeah, right.
when you say that your stuff is mint, is that a lot of mental preparation for you, or is it the equipment, or like the setup changes, making sure your stuff's dialed? How would you describe that in your mind, from your perspective?
Well, I honestly would put myself, I don't like to toot my own horn, but like I prep a lot. My equipment is every bit as good as say, we all know Adam Drake wrenches his heart out. The dude there's nobody better than him at knowing his equipment is not going to fail him. And I'm much in that same boat. I'm doing as much, if not more work at home than I am when I get to the track. Like going to LCRC this coming weekend. That car was ready. I have more than one nitro car. So with that being said, that car's been ready for a couple weeks. I was just at Adrenaline for the invite
Invitational.
race there. Those
Yeah.
cars are going to AMS. Those cars just got finished today.
Oh wow.
So, and then there's another set of cars, my Truggy, another nitro buggy. So like, I try to make sure that equipment is never the issue. I can always trust that. But when
Let's
I say
pause
like
real
things
quick. Kevin, if you're listening to this, because Jason's telling me I need multiple Mugen cars now to alternate through.
let's just say I'm a little, I have a problem. All right.
Yeah,
There's,
no, I
you
do
know,
too. Yeah.
I could say like, more than one nitro car is fine.
Mhm.
Because of where I'm going from different surface to surface between trains and lanes, barnstormers, tilt yard, LCRC, everything's got its own discipline. But so it helps me with not having to constantly be on top of working on one car. But when I was saying, going back to your original question there about
Yeah.
it being right on, a lot of it's all mental is a huge game of it. But for me, like, I don't really too much sweat it. If whether I win or I lose, like winning's awesome. Don't get me wrong. But if I lose and I'm in the game or having a good time, I'm okay with it. But it's really having the car handle the way I want. And that's
Mhm.
tires, that's having the engine tune right, the brakes correct, every little tiny bit, where it fits my driving style where I want to be. If the car's got a little bit understeer, a little bit of oversteer, or it's kind of neutral, there's like, I can pretty much know the moment I pull the trigger going into warm up of a final whether I'm going to be in the hunt or not. Like the last race at LCRC, I run around for my warm up lap and I'm on the headset with Mike Ream, and I already told him, I said, this is going to be a handful. Don't expect me a lot out of me here. And he's like, what? He's like, I'm on the wrong tire. I knew literally going down the straightaway and turning the car one corner, and didn't have the time to go and say, oh, let's go change tires. That would have been dumb against everybody else. Everybody else, Ethan chose correctly. And that was that. So, yeah, it's a battle. Let's put it that way. So I tend to I like to say I get it right a lot of times, but more often than not, it's like, man, you got to almost sometimes do what the other guys are not doing and hope you did it right.
Relative to some of the people you're racing once in a while, Jason, it looks like even when you get it wrong, you still look like you got it right.
I try. Yeah. It's yeah, I mean, when you're coming to, like, when I came from the on-road days, like, I don't know if you guys ever get the chance to, like, so many people watch my hand on the wheel. I hold the wheel really awkward. Um, I literally need about half the steering wheel to do a full steering lock. So,
Describe to our audio listeners how you like to hold the wheel.
so it's without having my radio here in front of me, it's hard to show, but I hold it with my fingertips, three fingertips, sometimes only two, my index and my middle finger, where my thumb's not in play. So my hand's a little to the right of the wheel. So that kind of is good and bad at the same time, because I'm okay turning right, sometimes bad turning left. because of how my hand articulates on the wheel. But when my car steers enough, when it has a lot of on-center response, like you turn the wheel and it's doing something the moment you touch that wheel, is usually when I'm in a good place, because that means my hand does not have to move far to actually get the car to do something. Now, if it's like really pushing or it's really loose, where you really got to saw at the wheel, that's sometimes where I'm not in a good place. And you really got to focus. And those are times where I'm on the headset not saying a word to anybody because mental capacity is just simply not there to talk about it.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like you don't run a lot of steering expo in your radio, the way you're
No,
describing it.
I don't run any. So I run the Fly Sky radio. I've run
Okay.
every brand radio. I use none of the actual things the radio can give you to help you. So I don't use expo. I don't use steering speed. I run full steering lock. So that thing is 100% EPAs, as far as it can go, full steering everywhere. And if the car's got more steering than it needs, I simply just turn the wheel less. I don't, because I've learned that from many years of other forms of the hobby, especially like an on-road. Um, if you set your steering lock and then you're in a position where you want to make a pass and you got to cut the car harder, you can't. You've already, you're bad. But there's a double-edged sword there. I've had people like Cole Ogden drive my car, and he went into the first corner at Trains Lanes one time and turned the wheel. He goes, "Holy shit, how do you drive this?" And then he's making adjustments for him to be able to drive it, which was fine. But then when I got it back, I couldn't drive it. And so I just, simple enough EPA adjustment, but still, everybody's got their own way of doing it.
Going back to the radios and all your experience with the other radios, why did you choose to run a Fly Sky over the two other major players like a Futaba or a Sanwa?
So I probably, God, I've been through so many radios, it's actually kind of funny. Because I tend to get a new one every year just for the hell of it sometimes.
Do you have a different radio for each race too, like your cars? Like you have the AMS radio and then the Halloween race radio.
No, not at all. I use the model function at its best.
All right.
But no, Kevin was the one that kind of got me to switch to Airtronics or Sanwa a long time ago, and I ran the M12. Was it the S back then? That was a great radio. I love that one. And then Natural Progression, when it switched to the M17, I ran that one. I didn't really like that one. Then I switched to the Futaba 10PX when that was out. And I ran that one for a couple of years, but I found, and Kevin will laugh the moment I say this, is that Futaba's receivers are pretty much garbage. You could go over a jump, land, and it's broke. The car might take off, it might not. I drove a whole race at LCRC with my truggy, making phantom right-hand turns in the sweeper. 2 of the times it went over the wall and it had to be marshaled. And throw it back on, and you don't know what's wrong. You change the receiver, it's okay for a race, goes bad again. And I got tired of that, and that's when actually Mayfield, of all things, sponsor guys. He's like, I'm like, how is this? It's not an expensive radio at the time. The Fly Sky Pros, the original Pros, were, I don't know, like $400, and it was like that's a drop in a bucket compared to some of these other high-end radios. And I'm like, what the hell? I'll try it. So I got it, and I haven't looked back since. I love the thing to death. It's a great radio, and I've not had any problems. That's the big thing, is not having a problem. So the radio's not acting up. The receivers don't fail. The receivers are only like $35. It's like, well, what the hell? And been using it since, and I don't see me going to something else. There's nothing else out there that wows you. They all do the same thing.
Yeah. Faith in your electronics is definitely a valuable point.
Absolutely.
Do you race any other forms of RC besides off-road, Jason? Like planes, boats, and you kind of led into the rotation of on-road and oval.
Yeah. I mean, right now, no. I mean, well, no, I'm wrong in saying that.
Okay.
I have a couple mini Zs, and the guys, like during the winter when we're just, got nothing to do, some of the guys have carpet tracks in their garages or their basements, and we go goof off and enjoy those things, beer league kind of racing. I do have a 10th scale car for carpet, but it's like a B63, so it's a little behind the times. I might run that once a year just to go goof off at trains and lanes, but I'm not really into it. I'd
Okay.
rather like come up with another 8 scale race to go to during the winter. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe Lee Setzer's been a pain in my ass, and he's like, "Hey, you got to come down to Madrid now and run indoor with us." And I might make the trek to do that at one or two times.
Alex and I have a few times.
Yeah.
I remember one time we went. Don was there, Hilliard, and other
Yep.
group of people, and I think we showed up. It was 21 degrees outside, and there was frost on the indoor track.
Yeah.
It was exciting though. I
It's
mean,
a
I had a great
blast.
time. Super appreciative of the ability to run 8 scale and or nitro all year round. Like it's definitely a great opportunity to be able to do that. Keep a controller in your hand and keep running. Track's definitely different, from our
Yeah.
setup conditions and stuff like that quite a bit, but is what it is.
Yeah. Speaking on that, Jason, I plan on going down at least once a month. It's only like 2 hours from me, so let me know when you want to go.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's like a little over 3 hours for me, but after just it's been so long, I forgot how long it took to get there. And
Yeah.
going there last week I was like, oh, this isn't bad at all. It was pretty straight shot, and
Yeah.
it wasn't bad. And the indoor track. I mean, the only reason I haven't been back is like the last time I was there, the track kicked my ass.
Mm.
I got so mad I never went back, and it wasn't through any fault of like the track or the facility. It was just like I went there, I had a horrible time because I just did bad myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, so not like I was like hungry to go back and say I'm gonna beat this. It was like no, I just never went back.
Yeah. Well, I get that. That happens.
You want to talk about the Adrenaline Invitational? We kind of led into that a few times, Jason. I watched your Nitro Buggy main. I didn't get a chance to watch any of the other races. So do you want to tell the listeners and stuff how you did and how was the experience there?
Sure. I would say my results didn't actually show how things actually went. The track was awesome. Lee and the gang at Adrenaline did a hell of a job. I mean, it was one of those very few tracks that you can go to. I think Tilt Yard might be the only other one that's like this, where they watered the track at night. They started practice in the morning and didn't have to touch the track once the entire day from start to finish.
Nice.
No blowing it off,
Wow.
no grooming it off, no nothing.
Yeah.
They blew it off once on main day, right before the invite of e-buggy.
Are they treating the track at all with anything special, or is it just the dirt holds in the moisture?
Well, I think a lot. It is clay. I don't know what
Okay.
kind of clay because it doesn't look like your normal clay.
It's red clay, isn't it?
It is, but it might be a little different. There is some topsoil in it.
Yeah.
But they use it. Lee used water and just the Elmer's glue, like the white school glue.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Okay.
mixed in with the water. So that's all he did. And he said that if he doesn't do that, the track will deteriorate. It will
Yeah.
get holes in it. And there were a couple holes in the track and in weird sections of the track that didn't affect the cars. So it was not a big deal. But for all that racing nonstop, throughout the weekend, there was never an issue. Like it was just super high grip. That was the one thing that really caught me off guard. It was wearing tires pretty bad. But
Oh,
it is what it is,
yeah.
like my first practice run on the track when it was a little damp was on a green reflex, and then the next run half hour later was instantly on blue relapse and then A2s. So it was blue and A2 relapse the whole time, and it was e-buggy tires would last 2 runs, nitro about 2 runs,
Wow.
and we're talking 2 5-minute runs, and they were almost shot. They were destroyed.
Yeah.
So much so I even got a set of A1 relapses, which you can't really go and get those. Lee had some, and I used them for the half-hour long final. And they had about maybe 15-20% tread left.
Wow.
But they were actually too hard because the car was on top of the track. So it was just
Yeah.
sliding wearing the tires. Yeah, the track polished over. We probably really should have been on a blue because even if you were on a slick, it would have been better on a blue slick than a hard tire.
Yeah.
But as far as my results are like concerned, I think I finished 6th overall in e-buggy, and I was like 8th in nitro. And nitro, I made a really big setup error on the car. This is one thing where my prep, my overconfidence got the best of me. I had
Yeah.
rebuilt diffs, got everything done, new clutch in the car, everything was ready to go, test fired it, everything was rocking. One thing I never did was actually check the droop. And I don't know how, but I completely messed the front droop up where it was about 5 or 6 millimeters too little in the front of the car. So it made it a dart. You could turn the wheel quarter turn and it would just want to spin out or traction roll. So I had to drive a half an hour with a car that you could barely touch the steering wheel on. Which was, so you're on pins and needles. And Henry was pitting for me. He did a good job on the first pit stop. We went a little long. The second pit stop, I'm like, should we be pitting soon? And he's like, oh, we're good, we're good. Not so much. We ran out of gas. So I probably would have finished fifth or sixth had that not happened.
Yeah.
Because we lost like 2.5 laps.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah. But it is what it is. I think the lesson learned there is like I checked my e-buggy's droop and everything was good there, but I never checked the nitro. And that was like an overconfidence thing that just screwed that car. I've done that once before at another race where the droop was wrong, and you'd be surprised. You think, it's not a big deal, especially when it's off really far. It can make the car go from pushing to completely almost undrivable. Especially on a high grip surface that doesn't leave you much air anyway.
Are you tuning with droop quite a bit?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I think you could tell like almost all of us were desperate to make the cars a little easier to drive. It
Okay.
didn't matter who it was, between me, Lee, Jonah, Wilson, and David Olson. We were kind of going shooting ideas. Every one of us would go out with a different something on our car just to see what it would do, whether it was diffs, shocks, droop. David even went as far as dremeling arms and changing wheelbase from the arm length of the car. We were doing a whole bunch of weird stuff. And
Was he trying to make it longer or shorter?
well, he was trying to make the front longer. He was trying to shift the weight balance around. So
Okay.
he was moving the front arms forward and moving the rears up to kind of shift the weight bias to the back of the car. He claimed that it worked better, but from a lap time aspect, it didn't look better. So I didn't bother going through all of that. I'm like, no, I'll just run stock stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't feel like dremeling arms to do special stuff. I'm not really keen on doing that. But droop wise, yeah, I mean, we were all over the map on droop, and I think that's where it got the best of me is when I got there and threw my cars out, the way they had them out of the box, they were decent, and that's where I should have stayed.
Yeah.
Tebow's good at that. Is one of those deals where work on your driving, not so much the car.
You'll tune
Like, I
yourself
probably
out of the
coulda left-
ballpark.
Yep, I could have left. I probably and honestly could have just went up like 5K on my diffs all the way around, maybe 50 or 100 CST in the shocks without changing pistons, and left my droop alone, and just change tires and just go drive, and not touch the car. Because I think that's we were doing so much stuff that it kind of got out of the realm of comfort. And like
You
when I look,
also. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I was
Nope.
gonna say when I looked at Jonah's car after the race was over, and I just looked at it, I'm like, just started laughing because his car was like what we would go everywhere with. That was
Yeah.
frustrating. It was literally you could have thrown it down at LCRC on green reflexes and got around the track.
Huh.
Like, ugh.
You also alluded to changing your clutch and diff fluids, but first, how often are you changing your clutch?
Not that often.
Okay.
I run a Potec clutch. Almost all of us do now. I mean, gosh, between Novoso and Mike Pavia, like we all tend to run the same stuff, just so it's a collective effort, if you will. I know
Yep.
Lee Setzer runs a Protec clutch, so does Jonah, David. Like, it's kind of become the universal thing across all brands. So I changed the clutch out of a means to put a fresh one on it. Not that I was actually making an adjustment.
Okay.
It was more I had run that car I ran at LCRC for the cancer race. So it had all of qualifying in the mains at the cancer race. It had all of practice and qualifying at Adrenaline. So it was time to just put a fresh one in it. So very seldom am I changing. I do more on the truggy than I would on the buggy as far as tuning the clutch.
Okay.
If anything, it might be a spring change on the clutch. Like I run 2 aluminum and 2 carbons, 0.95s on the carbons and 1.0s on the aluminums. And if I just need the car to be a little smoother on the hit, I'll just put 0.9s on the carbons, just to kind of change that stall speed down.
Mhm.
And that's really about it. It's usually quite simple with that clutch. That's the one thing I love about it. And it lasts a really long time. You know, it's a good 2-3 hours of running before you really need to worry about it.
Okay, that's good to know for the listeners and also myself too.
Mhm.
What about diffs, Jason? Like, how often are you changing your diffs? If there's no setup change needed, do you think you could go a weekend without changing your diffs, or you just find yourself trying to tune to the track too often to ever even consider something like that?
Well, let's just put LCRC into the frame here. I know
Okay.
that track like the back of my hand, so it's one of those deals where I know pretty much what to throw down right away. So after a race weekend, or if it's a car I'm going to come to LCRC with, I'll at least rebuild the disc before I go, because I'll forget how long they have on them anyway, and it's just better to just get there with fresh diffs. As far as I kind of time it. If the car's got an hour of runtime or more on it before finals day, I will rebuild them. If it's got like say 3 practice runs and qualifying, given we say we only get 2 quals, so you're going to put what 15 minutes on the car with warm ups and 6 minute runs. Um, I might rebuild the rear diff because that's the one that is the one that works the hardest out of all of them. At least in the Sparko car, that's the one that will get dark first. Then the center and the front, you could probably go 2 hours on before you need to do anything with it. Um, I don't know. The HB car was a lot like that as well when I ran that car. I don't know about other brands, but it's if you were to leave them alone and just not rebuild them at all, would it make a difference? I honestly couldn't tell you because it's been so long that I have that my regimen's pretty picky
Yeah.
about.
You kind of alluded to a couple of different car brands you run. So, for the listeners that don't know you, do you want to tell them what car brand it is that you do run now? And then you also want to touch on some of the other brands and stuff you have run in the past, as far as off road goes, at least.
Sure, sure. Well, I currently run for Sparko and Power Hobby. Um, and Sparko is out of Taiwan. It's a new brand. I think we've only been in the country now for what, 2 years?
Yeah, only a couple years.
Yeah. So a lot's been going on. Gosh, the last race at LCRC, I ran a prototype car. Um, and I know, I'm part of the factory team, despite I'm not paid to do this. So, but being part of that factory team, that lends you the ability of testing parts. And also with Position 1 RC with Matt Navoso, Matt is an invaluable dude. That guy, like we've worked so hard on the car that a lot of what Sparko is doing is really work that he and I have put in over the past year and a half. We've done like adjustable chassis, where we can change the wheelbase from the back of the car, shock towers, a lot of little things that we've done that they're taking to heart now and know that they've got to make this and put this into a production kit. So, and the news is that's coming next year. So that's the one difficult part right now with the Sparko F8, F8E, and the truck. Well, the Truggy not so much. That's pretty good out of the box. But the buggies, their first year was a little. You get the car, you got to throw a lot of stuff on it in order to make it competitive. But the next kit will have that resolved, which is great considering that's year 3. How many other brands can say that? Most of them like Techno, Mugen, everybody's had years and years and years and years on their cars to be able to have them where they want to be. But it's been a cool venture. Um, God, with other sponsors, I've run for J&T Bearing for 10 years. I don't know. I forget. Cole Ogden got me on that team, and I've been running for them for a long time. I've recently started running for Leadfinger, the body company. And that came out of the whole Sparko deal too, where I sent him my car and he made a body for it. He wanted to jump to the market and beat everybody else to making a body, and he did. And the rest has been history there. That's been awesome. Because I still don't think to this day anybody else has made one. I know JC is working on it, but it's like now they've got Jonah and Lee as factory drivers for JC, and it's like, guys, where's a factory body? But I do know they are working on it. I got ProLids Customs. Brandon Swisher out of Virginia paints my bodies for me. And that dude is awesome. I know he's been LCRC several times. And God, I don't know who else I'm forgetting. I'm probably forgetting people.
What about like old brands of cars that you ran? So you alluded to you used to run HB, and then what was even before that, Jason? I know there's quite the list that I've heard that we've talked.
Oh, dude, a lot of cars.
Yeah.
When I got
All
to the
of them.
point where let's instead of starting at the end, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Because that's the part that like it's fun to think back. My first 8-scale buggy, nitro powered 8-scale buggy, was a Jammin X1 CR.
Nice.
If you guys have, all right. That was probably 2006. I don't know, maybe even earlier than that. Where we were running at Hobby Hut, and that was before Mike Ream used to actually run that track. That's going back a ways. I may have even been before 2006, may have been 04, 05. And you know,
I was still in school.
That was just a fun thing. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, like my buddy Larry Fairtrace, who's an avid on-road guy, he was good at off-road too, and he's like, "Oh, let's get these cars and go have some fun." And it was, you know, I think at that time, like Proline and Panther were the only two real tire companies, and you only had a couple tires to pick from, so it was easy then. You just go and have a good time, and it didn't matter. And then I went back to on-road, so it was like a couple years later. I think the next car I had after that, God, I'm trying to think. It may have been when Low C came out with their car. So that was like the first 8. And I ran that car for a long time. Because at that time I was sponsored by Horizon to run TLR. Well, it wasn't even TLR before that. TLR then, it was just Team Low C Racing.
Yeah.
Or just Team Low C rather. And I ran the on-road cars. So they
Where
had
was it you were racing at back then to get a sponsor like that?
See, I was traveling even then. I mean, there were points like back in like 98 and 99, even in 2000, it was like I was always fast at on-road because I just liked it. You know, they looked like the real thing, like little Honda Accords or something like that. They looked cool. And I just enjoyed that. It was fun turning right and left. It was just another thing to keep your brain going. And there were guys, I think, from Mimi's track down in Maryland that came up one race weekend. They're like, "Dude, you're quick. You should go to these races." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I just race here. And they're like, no. You got to go to like Snowbird Nationals down in Florida. And I'm like, who the hell goes to Florida to race RC cars? I remember that. I'm like, and they're like, "Oh, you got to go down to Mimi's." These were like things like before we're all over the internet and stuff. You know, you're just, you know, word of mouth. And you know, I never did go to Mimi's that early on to go race down there because they had a really fast contingent of people there. Because where I was racing on road back then, they put a bounty on my head. I like won 12 straight weekends, so I think the bounty was up to like $500 or $600.
Wow.
So they got the guys from Maryland to come up to race against me, and I'm like, I was worried. I'm like, oh no, I still beat them, and they were like, "Son of a bitch." But yeah, I mean, once I started traveling, like the first time I went down to Florida, that's when things started opening up the doors. You know, like you start meeting people, and you know, they're like, "Wow, you're good at this," but they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, Losi was the first. You know, Horizon was the first company that actually picked me up and put me on a full blown team.
So what came after the 8?
The 8 2.0. Like I said,
I got one on the wall back there.
Yep, I ran Losi cars. I ran the 1.0, the 2.0, the 3.0. And the 3.0 is where I stopped with Losi. I think that was 2011 or 2012. I'm trying to think back. No, it may have been no, it was before that. Kevin had a Roar National at his track, a Nitro National.
That was 2012, wasn't it?
Tessman won the race. I remember that with a fight against Dakota. I think it was 2012. Yeah, because I stopped running the Losi car then, and I started running a Mugen. Yeah, that was Kevin induced.
Surprise.
So yeah,
Kevin knows all the right things. It's okay.
I think I'm missing something in there though. Son of a bitch. Because I know at one point in time I ran the Serpent car.
That was probably Chicky's doing at that time.
Well, yeah, it was. That is right. So I ran the 8.2.0. I switched to that's when I left and I went to the Serpent car. That was like 2010. And I ran the Serpent. No shit. See, I'm losing timelines.
Get a pen and paper out.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
This
'cause
race and that
I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Because like
It's gonna
that's
look
right,
like that Sunny in Philadelphia with the
Yeah.
diagram board.
Yeah, it's like all
Get the yarn and the tacks.
Yep.
It's coming back to me now because like when I ran the Serpent or ran the Mugen for a year and a half.
Best year and a half of your life, right?
No, it wasn't. That's the thing. A lot of these cars, it's funny how like you have the factory guys that just make the cars look so darn good, right? And then you go and grab the car and you do what you think you have it right. And you drive it and you're thinking, wow, this thing's awesome. Now, granted, there were times I had the Mugen car awesome. I loved it. But I like the MBX 6R better than the MBX 7.
That's what even
they-
Kevin said that.
A lot of people
And then
like the
the-
six.
Started putting the 6 suspension on the back of the 7. And when they started doing all that crap, I went back to a Losi car, and that's when the 8.4.0 came out. That's when Mayfield was running for them. I ran that this whole time, mind you, this is like 2006 to 2014. I was running for Horizon. So at that point, they didn't make it mandatory to say, "Hey, you have to run TLR vehicles."
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just under the Horizon label, so I could still get so if they resold Mugen at Horizon, I could get that.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
allowed to do that. But it was just, I think at that point in time when I switched back to the Losi car from the Mugen, like I think an 8.4.0 kit cost me like $200. So you're just like, oh man, and even like if you needed to get spare parts for it, like a pair of arms for a Losi car was like 70 cents. It's like
What?
you were paying what Horizon paid for the parts.
That's awesome.
Not a discount level. I was on like whatever weird team level it was that you just paid cost. So even like a spur gear was like $1.20, and those things are like $45 retail. So
Yeah.
it was dumb to just not run Losi cars just because it was a heck of a lot cheaper. But when I went to Indiana for the Nationals, I think that was the year Tebow won. We all struggled with Losi cars, and it was like I knew then. I'm like, all right, you put in your time, you travel, spend a lot of money. You try to get help from the likes of the team managers at that time, and nobody's really knows what to do. So you're just like, well, what the heck?
Jump ship.
Yep. And I did. And I went, that's when I went solo.
I was going to say before we jump, what was it with the Losi car that made you struggle in Indiana versus other brands that weren't struggling out there?
The car had just a lack of traction, overall traction. So, like, it was just difficult to drive. And the Losi cars are notorious for that anyway. They always had a ton of steering. So you're never fighting that. But when you needed rear grip out of the car and you needed to force it to have rear grip, then you didn't have enough steering. And then it was just like you're trying to find a happy median where everybody else has already won up on you anyway. And the other brands were working on their cars so much faster than Losi was because Losi's so much bigger that it's like if they're going to make an adjustment to the car, they're going to come out with a whole new car. There's not like, oh, let me come out with a caster block or a steering block or some new part. No, they weren't doing that. They were, Dakota had a whole prototype car at that race, and he even struggled. He couldn't get either car to work. He barely made the main, and that's his home track. His wife's family owned that facility.
Oh wow!
They've since sold that place and it's closed now. But that's you think for somebody that's got as much time on that facility, you'd think Dakota would be lighting it on fire. and
Yeah.
he struggled, and he's not one to struggle.
Right.
So after that, that's when I was like, what do I do? And that's when I talked to Chicky, and he's like, he got me to get a Serpent car. And I ran the Serpent. Gosh, no, I bought more than one car. I bought a Techno at that time too. I bought like a few cars. I was
that
not like
was-
I'm free agent.
That was right when Techno came out then.
Well, it was, what is it? It was an NT, or what was it, a MB48? I don't know if it was a .1 or a .2.
Well,
It may have
that's
been a
early.
.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that because Bornhorst was running for Techno at that time,
Mhm.
and I remember asking him for some information to get the car going.
Did you know our Uncle Mike back then? Born
What's that?
Horse's pit guy. Did you know our Uncle Mike?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, even back then, you can even ask Mike. This is 20. It may have been 2014, 2015. I don't know. You have to look back. My buddy Justin Bortz has the video on YouTube. Kevin had one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Yep,
his
yep.
cash race at LCRC.
Yeah.
Mike was pitting for Joe. Joe led almost the entire race, but I fought him tooth and nail for a half hour straight. I think both of us only needed a quarter marshal once for a half hour.
Wow.
And I beat him with like 3 minutes to go because he ran out of tire.
Oh wow.
And
Did his tire
and it
fall
was-
off, or he ran out of tire?
No. He was on slicks.
Okay.
He
Okay.
Yeah, he was like the time we were both running for AKA, and he ran gridirons, and I think I was on catapults.
Okay.
But I was on a test compound he didn't even know existed.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, and my tire hung on long enough to beat him at the end there, and it was like $500 to win.
Yeah.
Like there was $1,000 in the purse, and it was like 500 for the winner, 250 for second, and third got whatever.
Yeah. So odd.
But Mike was pitting him, and he'll remember that if you ask him about it.
Yeah.
I asked about
That was-
tires because the one event apparently Joe's wheel fell off, and so Mike has this thing against enclosed wheel nuts on the 8 scales where he hates them. And we bring it up all the time to fuck with him. Like, yeah, you make Joe's wheels fall off.
But getting back to cars, man, like I ran the Serpent car. This is probably going on. God, fast forward. I'm trying to think of what year it was. It was, I think, all the way up now to 2017, mind you. Because if you guys remember, I don't know if you guys were around when Dwayne Karlovsky was around.
No,
I wasn't around.
I wasn't into it that big yet.
Yeah. This was like right before. So what year did Ron Folk win the Worlds in Vegas? I think that was
16.
I think it was 2016. Yep. Because HB at the time did not have their new buggy out. They had just the D817.
Mm-hmm.
The V2 was coming out the following year. So at which point I was running the Serpent car, and I went down to Fall Brawl down in South Carolina, when it was still at the outdoor clay track. And I just had a bear of a time there. I struggled. I let other people drive my car that were faster than me, that were running Serpents, and they made it look fine. And I'm like, oh, the car's fine. And then I go and drive it. I couldn't do anything with it. And I remember Chad Phillips being there. He was a team manager of HB at the time, and he still is, I believe. And Dwayne, my buddy, who had an HB car, he beat me, and he's like, "See, huh?" He's egging me on, and Chad was the first. That was the first company that offered me a full ride. So it was free cars, free parts, the whole nine. Like, and I'm just sitting there thinking in disbelief, like, why would HB give me that? That's when they signed, because that was also, I think, Cole's first race with the car when I was down there, and he waxed everybody. So it was like one of those deals where I got home and I had to do some thinking, and I took the HB deal. And I ran for them for 5 years, and I had 5 awesome years with them.
Was that a tough call to make when you had to call up Chicky and let him know you were dumping Serpent?
Well, it wasn't just like that.
Yeah.
What I had done was I wasn't pulling any punches. I sent Chicky a copy of the contract that HB sent me. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I said, if you want me to run Serpent, this is what you've got to match. And he said, give me the day. And came back to me later on that evening and said, it was like, they're not willing to do that. He goes,
Yeah.
he would have more than happy to do it himself, but they just
Yeah.
physically wouldn't.
I mean, it's definitely hard
Um,
to not take a deal with another competitive brand that's willing to give a full ride. You know what I mean? It's hard to stay where you're at. I mean, yeah, you're getting a discount, but if someone's offering you a full ride, like, come on, this shit's expensive.
It wasn't just that, that I also had to look ahead. They had just signed Cole. They had some of my buddies down in South Carolina and North Carolina that were running the car that were fast. Dwayne Karlovsky at the time, my buddy that I was physically traveling with at every damn race, he was already running the car, already had all the parts, knew what was weak, knew what wasn't.
The support was around you.
We had the support, not to mention Chad was local. He was only 30 minutes away from me. So if we needed something, and Absolute Hobbies is like 30 minutes away. Like, it wasn't a big deal to say, okay, well, let's go get parts, or we need a kit, or blah, blah, blah. We had backing, we had help. And that was, a huge deal. Not to mention the cars at that time were almost faultless. They were so good. They were very comfortable to drive. They had very big setup windows. So even if the car wasn't 100%, you could still go fast. That was
At
like
this
the
point-
best years.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
At this point in time, or I guess we could even backdate, did you ever think or you were going to try to do this like full-time professionally as your job?
No,
Okay.
no, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I've always had a job, right?
Mhm.
And have a source of income and benefits and all of that goes along with it, and because I've looked at, when I did on road and I was traveling, I watched a lot of guys that were paid to do this for a living lose their ride. And these guys like at the top tier of it, and you just think, well, damn, they went from employed to no employment. And there's just and they've got to go show what they're worth to somebody else that's going to pay them to do this. But you watch that segment of the hobby like on road starts to dwindle a little bit. So it's not like people are forthcoming to say, okay, well, we're going to shift you over here and give you X amount of dollars. It's not easy. And off-road is just as bad. There are a lot of guys that are paid to do it. Some teams that have bigger budgets than others. I know, like, for instance, like with Sparko, because I was in at ground level and working with John Blaze, who's our team manager. I don't know if you guys know John, but John's been around this stuff a long time. But at the same time, he's a businessman to the hardcore. He knows what he's doing. The guys that are paid to do it on the team, by no means would I say they're getting paid a lot of money. Like, if I were to tell you how much they were getting paid, you guys would be laughing right now and saying, I don't, screw that. I'll just go get a job. So, but these guys are putting in the time and they're doing what they love. And if they've got other addendum income, even if it's working at McDonald's or doing something simple,
OnlyFans.
Feet finder.
You never know. I don't want to know. Let's just
Yeah, especially when it comes to these RC racers.
Just click on the link and you'll know.
They're probably the ones not making a whole lot of extra additional income on the side. But anyways, sorry, Jason.
No, it's all good. I mean, so I've always looked at it as, if you could walk away from the hobby, the only thing that you're going to miss are your friends. That's where I'd rather be. I don't want it to put money in my pocket. Like, if it's a cash raise or something like that, cool, But
Yeah.
if you're paid to do it and it's your job, the enjoyment level changes. I guess for some of the guys, like maybe like Mayfield, where they enjoy it no matter what, but they're just naturally so good that it's like they're gonna top three it anyway, so they're not too concerned about it. But it's like, I just wouldn't do it. It's not for me.
that was a great side tangent. Let's go back to the story. So you were running HB. How good was your HB career? And then we'll transition after that.
I would say my HB career was awesome. Getting to know David Ronnefolk, Cole Ogden, we had a bunch of the Fuller brothers were on the team for a little while, and they were awesome to work with as well. Their dad Mike, that dude is, I love that guy to death. Um, I'd say like my first few years with the team are probably my best. Like 2019 when we went down to Florida, I made the semifinals at the Roar Nats. Um, which was pretty darn cool. I definitely did not have a chance to make it into the final. I was nowhere near fast enough, but still, it was like I'm still on the stand with the top 12.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, so that's top 24. And I have done it once before. I did it with the Losi car in 2012 at Kevin's track. I made the semis direct,
Awesome.
and that was a big race too. So, but I won a lot of races with the HB car. It was always a comfortable car. I just, leaving that team was a difficult thing to do. And that was kind of funny how that all went down, to be honest with you. That was like right when HB was kind of in limbo, like guys weren't getting paid that were supposed to be paid. I didn't know anything about any of that. I literally made my decision to leave because when HB came out with the world spec car, I didn't like that car at all. I liked the old one. And in fact, I wasn't aware that we were allowed to still run the old car. So my last race with HB was Fall Brawl. And, that was when they moved it to North Carolina in the pavilion. I won the 40 plus class and I made the A main in the pro class. I think I finished like 6th or 7th. So I had a great race weekend. It was awesome. And even Cole struggled with his car, but he was running the world spec car. And he looked at me and he's like, "Oh, you sneaky bastard. You're still running the old one." And I'm like, "This is my last race. I'm going out in style with my old favorite car." And, and goes to show that car is still good. Even to this day, you could probably just put that down anywhere and still be competitive with it. I don't think the newer cars are like anything like, holy crap, you got to have the latest and greatest. But yeah, when I left and they were all like, "You're leaving? You're leaving? What did we do?" I mean, I just wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
And I think that whole deal, I literally, one of the few guys, being 100% driver, most of the times you're supposed to give your equipment back. I know a lot of the guys from HB ended up selling their stuff that weren't getting their paychecks, but I gave all my stuff back. I literally gave assembled cars, all of my parts bins full of stuff I gave back. And that was hard to do, but it was like, well, you got to do it. They're not paying for it. It's got to go back to where it belongs. And I still see a couple of those cars out there. So I know Ed Bridges has one of them.
Nice.
It's funny to see it.
Then that's where Sparko came along after that?
Yeah, and that was full out of my own thinking. I didn't want to. I've been through the gamut. I've run a lot of cars. I've played. I played with the 8X, the 8X Elite. I played with the newer Technos. I started just getting new cars, but at that particular point in time, I was like, I don't want to go through and buy a whole bunch of different kits. And I talked to Tyler Jones because he had just won the Georgia Peach State Classic with the Sparko car. And it was like, well, what's the deal with this thing? And he kind of gave me the rundown. And so I've called the owner of Power Hobby out of the blue. Never met the guy. But luckily, if you guys know Brian Cruz, Brian, he knows Muhammad at Power Hobby quite well because Trains and Lanes deals directly with Power Hobby. They're like in their backyard. They're right here in Jersey. They're about 20 minutes away. So he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll call Muhammad and I'll tell him everything and then give him a call back." And Muhammad was cool. Like, I got a car. I told Tyler, send me a setup sheet of everything you ran at Georgia, and I want to build the car to what you had spec wise. So it was a fully optioned car, at the time of what they had available. And I went to LCRC. I think this was right after the Halloween race. It was still really nice out. So I spent like 2 whole days at LCRC just running the car. And I knew at the end of the weekend, I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And that was that. It was pretty easy after that.
So I think we came into knowing each other when you were running HB,
Mhm.
and then I knew you were going to the Sparko thing. Did you have your doubts going to join and run for a company that only had, I believe, Tyler Jones at the time running it? And I knew Kevin Winters in the area. He had a Sparko because
Mhm.
he was doing the videos and stuff for him.
Yeah.
But other than that, it seemed like there was no local support running a Sparko. So did you have your doubts based on those things,
Um,
or
right off the hit, no.
okay?
But the first, I'm trying to think of when I had my first race with the car. I don't know if it was at Trains and Lanes or LCRC. I think it may have been Trains and Lanes. Like Trains and Lanes, I was like with the HB car, it was automatic. I knew what to do there. I could throw a car down. It didn't matter who I was racing against. Like Harmer, I would, at that time, I maybe would lap Harmer at Trains and Lanes. Everybody else was kind of like
Careful,
sometimes a
because
good
Harmer
fight.
listens to this.
That's
He'll-
fine, and he'll
I'm
attest to
just
this.
joking.
He, at
I'm
that
just
time,
joking.
let's just put it this way: his wrench game back then was shit. Like, he didn't
Yeah.
know what he was doing. He would just run a car until it was wore out, and then just build another one.
Yep.
So he always had driving talent. That was never his problem. It was his cars. That's not a problem anymore. So that's why he's been on this tear. But um, switching to the Sparko there, like you're trying to apply some of the stuff you did with the HB car to that, and it did not work. Um, so the car was really hard to drive on high grip. Um, and you take it, as it goes. Just you're learning. You're throwing stuff at it. You're trying to figure it out. But I think where it really set me back was when I did the testing at LCRC and everything felt good.
Mhm.
To go to LCRC's opener, and it was like, well, where did the speed go? It's because the layout didn't change. It was the same layout from winter. Kevin didn't change it, so you're expecting the car to still be okay, and it was not. So it took a lot. Like that entire year, all of last year, I would say, we really, between me and Tyler and Matt was a big one too. Navoso, like Matt's not one that can drive a car that's hard to drive. He's got to have a little bit of understeer, so he could use the throttle to really manipulate the car. And my car wasn't like that. Like, you needed to turn and be gentle on the power, and then once it's straight, then pull it, which nobody wants to wait on it.
Mhm.
So we had to really work our tails off and figure out. And that's when Matt's like, we need different shock tower adjustments. So he made towers. Um, we need to brace the car here. It's flexible here, so we would make braces for it. And I think it was DMS last year where we found a major weakness of the cars. It's just simply too short.
Okay.
We need to make it longer. And we're like, well, we could tell the factory to make it longer, or we can do something about it right now and figure it out. And that's when Matt came up with method of being able to, like one arm does it for the HB cars. There's some other ones that do it too, where you can, I think even Losi had it too, where you could move the back clip forward and back to adjust the wheelbase. That's what we did. We made the rear car adjustable wheelbase in the chassis plate. And just
Did
being
you
able
drill 4 more holes to move the whole bulkhead further back, or what are you doing?
So the holes in the chassis were slotted, and there were aluminum inserts, locator plates that would go into the slot. So we could run the stock length. We could go 1 meter, 2 millimeter, or 3 millimeter longer, just shifting the diff case back.
Okay.
Just making the wheelbase longer. And as soon as we did that, it was like, holy crap. Our car just simply became easier to drive because the longer wheelbase, it wasn't so erratic. It had more rear grip because the weight was shifted further forward. So as soon as we did that, and then it was validation, because right after we did that, that was really early this year that we did that. that Lee and Jonah signed on, and that was unbeknownst to me that they were even on the way on the team. But we worked out a deal to be able to get them the parts that Matt made and put them on their car. And well, hell, Jonah went out his first race with the car. I think that was DNC and made the A main.
Yep.
We're like, okay, well, we must be doing something right.
Yeah,
Um,
both Lee and Jonah immediately seemed to take to it.
yep. And same thing. Yeah, those guys have been lighting it up. And they're still like, even their cars are evolutions of it. They've got some different parts too, but nothing out of the ordinary. Like you wouldn't look at it and be like, oh man, that's like real custom. It's not like
Yeah.
that. They've been, because even the guys at Spark are like, guys, if you are going to make parts, please don't make it too obvious to the point where the car looks like, well, what the hell? I can't compete with that.
Yeah.
So we couldn't, like, a shock tower is no big deal. It's just one simple 4 screws, change the tower. So that's, but yeah, I mean, and that's where they've come up with, even at the end of this year, with the prototype car that I ran, like, so now they see that the work we've put in, it's like now we've got the support. So it was like riding it out, doing the work, hustling, wearing cars out, testing things, and making sure that it's not just me that can drive the car, but Matt and other guys that, need a lazier car or something that's a little easier to drive. You put it in the hands of other people too, to say, okay, yeah, this is all right. I like this. So it was sketchy at first, but it got better.
Yeah. So you've touched on quite a few things that you change all the time, Jason, whether it be droop, diffs, clutch. I guess you don't change it often, but shocks, shock tower, shock position, things like that. When you go to a new track, do you have your base setup that you're kind of always going to run for the most part? And then what sort of things are your go-tos for changing and stuff for listeners? And I want you to be able to speak to the beginners too that can listen to this, and I want you to be able to also speak to the people, say like the Jason mechanics and stuff like that, whether we want to talk different shock packages, things like that, and the different brand shocks for the piston to body clearance levels and the shear, the fluid, all that sort of stuff.
I do like to keep it simple with regards to setup. I do have like kind of a base setup that I like to have, and a lot of it's primarily what I run at LCRC. While that track's kind of like your medium low grip, but it is quite 3D.
So before you go further, what is it you consider high grip? Because that's another thing that we often have a debate for other people to listen to, because I know the track you're talking about, but for other people that haven't been on that track, what is low grip? What is high grip?
So, God, it's trying to think of an easy way to explain it. You know what I mean? Because LCRC, like we all know, like when you're going out there on your first run, that track is natural dirt. So by nature, there's going to be some dust and some powder on the surface. There's not a lot of rock in the track surface, so there's not a lot of like that shear grip, like where the tires are going to actually bite into something other than dirt. So usually on a fresh track, you're 4-wheel sliding. You'll turn the wheel, the car's numb. It'll get a little loose. You have to drive it, handle the car through the corner, because its response times to what you're giving it are quite low. As the weekend progresses, depending on the weather, where the track starts to take some rubber, where tires meet that rubber, the grip comes up, and then obviously when you're turning the wheel or getting on the power, the car's actually responding to your inputs. Just from natural grip, you're not sliding around. The car's getting stuck to the ground. Other tracks that are in that range, Barnstormers is a lot like that, as far as a high grip surface. That one is very different though, because it is natural dirt, but there's a lot of rock in it, a lot of small rock. So when it dries, it almost turns into like a concrete surface. It looks just like concrete. So it can wear tires. It requires harder compounds. When you start working on a track that is higher grip, then you got to do things like you might have to go up in differential fluids from maybe 15,000 in the front or 12,000 front to 20. And go up in the center. Just go up all the way around about 5K on the oils, just to kind of numb the car down, make it less difficult to drive.
When you're
And
going
stop.
up and making those changes, Jason, do
Mhm.
you do it off like a percentage base to keep the balance of the car the same, or just kind of throw like a number, like you just said, 5K, just like say like you had like I don't know a 10-10-7 set up in a car, would
Mhm.
you go up 5K in the front and then measure the percentage change and then make sure that's even to keep the balance of the car, or do you not care that much about that?
Well, I wouldn't say from a percentage aspect. Say if you are running like a
Okay.
10-10-7 setup, right? I'm going to go up evenly across that. So if I want to go, just try to go up on the diffs, I'm just going to say I'll go 15, 15, 10, or 12, something like that. I'm going to
Yeah.
keep the I'm not going to change the balance of the car. If I'm not looking for that, let's put it that way.
Mhm.
Like if I need it to drive, have a little bit more off power steering, then maybe I will go to a lower, diff fluid in the back, but very seldom do I need that. I'm not looking for it that way. I'll go up on diffs primarily, number one, to try not to fry them. Um, and that was like to give you an example, just this last race at Adrenaline. Um, Lee and I spent like 20 minutes talking about what diff oils to put in our cars for the final, because the rear diff in both of our cars looked like charcoal. And you're like, well, what the hell are we going to do with that? You can go up in sway bars. We're like, I don't think it's going to solve the problem. So we went up 10. I went up 10,000 all the way around in diffs. I was like at 30, 20, 15. And
Oh.
he decided, unbeknownst to me, to stay where he was. I'm like, oh, dirty rat.
He fooled you and you became the test dummy there.
Well, yeah, and I was starting last, so I'm like, what the heck? I want to try it anyway.
Yeah.
And it didn't much matter because of what I did with the droop. But um, when I took the diffs apart, they were crystal clear in the car. So sometimes, like, that meant, okay, was I too heavy? Because you do want to see. I look at it this way, like a tire. If it's too soft, you wear it out. But if it's too hard and it's not worn, you were on a too hard of a tire. Um, Diffs are kind of in that same group too.
Hmm.
Where if you're too high and then you don't see the diffs actually doing a whole heck of a lot of work, you could have just made yourself go backwards because you went too far.
Do you also go as far to measure diffs with like a diff analyzer like I do, as far as when they come out of the car to see what they broke down to versus what they started at, and then when you put new fluid to see what that amount of change is for the resistance?
You know what? I've seen Chicky with that tool. I know that Williard's got one too.
I love mine.
I've never ventured into bothering with it.
I'll tell you what, this coming weekend, come over to my table. We'll start measuring some diffs, like before and after and stuff. It'll blow your mind.
It's
We'll
gonna
talk more
it's
about it.
gonna piss you off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure it will, because like I've had for instance, like if I put the same diff oils in my e-buggy and my nitro car, and you spin the diff on my e-buggy, it feels like it's 10,000 weight heavier than the nitro car. And it's like, well, why? It's the same. Now, I don't know if that means if I take the diff out, put it in the nitro car, it would feel different. But you can physically feel when you turn it, you're like, man, that feels heavier. I don't know. And
But
that tool would have
now
been
I can put
nice.
a number to it, and you can
Yeah.
physically know. And then also it's how you build a diff completely changes the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
If I ultrasonic
yeah.
clean mine with naphtha, it's 50 points lower in resistance compared to the same fluid. If I clean it out with like brake clean, shop towels as good as I can get at the track, or if how you grease the O-rings even, and all that, it changes
wow.
substantially.
And that's funny because I don't even get into that technicality with it. Like when I'm rebuilding my
Dump
diffs,
it out, fill it up.
Yep.
yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's what I do.
Yep.
Because I found lately, amongst all the races talking about changes between low grip, high grip, or whatever, the things that have been manipulating my car the most, outside of like camber link position changes, like length or height, is really shocks. That's been the single biggest thing that I've been messing with the most. Whether it's, I've been running VRP pistons a lot. So, and they're all 15.85 mil if you wanted to ask, because I know that some like running the 15.8s with more blow by. I don't do that. So it's either 5-hole setup, 6-hole setup, or 8-hole setup. And I personally, I don't know if it's just my driving style. I like the 5-hole stuff. So it does induce a lot more chassis roll into the car and a lot more weight manipulation, but I physically like that. Whereas like Jonah and Lee will run 6 or 8-hole stuff. So their cars look like they're a lot more flat on the track. But when I try to drive something like that, it's a little difficult for me to get around. So like LCRC, it's always 5-hole pistons. Unless it's like super high grip for whatever reason, I might go to 8-hole because that numbs the car down a little bit. It's easier to drive. Like at Adrenaline, we were on 8-hole. But like Barnstormers, the track gets bumpy. So whether it's high grip, it's bumpy. You do need the 5-hole just to get through the bumps. Trains and Lanes has always been 5-hole for me too. So I kind of like I get comfortable with that 5-hole stuff, and then I just go up and down on shock oil to what the car needs to get around where I can be competitive. Because if I start messing with pistons too much, I will get out of the game.
Yeah.
I'll bow myself out.
Camber links, what are you usually tuning for as far as high, low, and short and long?
So there's kind of a default set that we use on the Sparko. I can't really say because there's a few different shock towers out there, between position 1 RC towers and the stock towers. So
Let's
the
just
front tower,
speak about cars in general then. Like, what are you looking for when a car's doing this? Do you go lower? Do you go higher to gain this? Do you go shorter? Do you go longer?
okay, I got
Okay.
you. I got you. So general rule of thumb, when you're raising the camera link on the tower, you're lowering the roll center. You're also taking a little bit of camber gain away too. But with that said, like depending on the track surface, like LCRC, I do run the links a little high. Unless the track surface it starts coming up, grip starts coming up, and it starts rolling too much, I will lower the links. Just because they're like 45 holes in the tower, so I just move them down 1 slot. So it's not a huge change. And the same thing comes to length too. Like the front of our car on the Sparko, it's only got 2 holes in the front caster block. If the track's got a lot of switchbacks or a lot of tight corners, I'll run the front link short, so that you have the reaction time from the front end. But again, when grip starts coming up, I will make them long. The rear of the car, however, generally run them long all the time. I've run them short at times, especially like if I needed it's low grip where it needs to turn in but fire straighter off the corner. I tend to run a shorter rear link, but I'd say 95% of the time it's a full length rear link on our car. And it seems like a lot of brands are like that too.
That's
I'm
how
not
the
quite sure
Technos
why.
are.
Yeah.
Mugen is. Drake will tell you pretty much just long rear
Yep.
link. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's like probably because it's the slowest for the back of the car. You don't want the rear of the car to be too lively. You'd rather do it with the front than the back and have the rear traction. Because everybody needs traction, no matter how hard you're freaking driving these cars, whether you're a novice or even semi-competitive or whatever. It doesn't matter. Even like Mayfield, it doesn't matter who it is. You see their links are full long in the back of their cars.
Yeah. Here's another question for you, Jason. It's not RC related. What
Yeah.
else do you like to do for hobbies besides RC?
I have a few things, but I think the thing that I'm enjoying right now, I don't know how many of you guys know, I have a right-hand drive WRX
Oh.
from
That's
Japan.
where I was leading to.
I did
that's
not
why
know.
why I asked the question.
Ears are open.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's
Because we're all car guys when it comes to RC, so I wanted you to lead
yeah.
into this. Yep.
Yeah, I got I've had the car for 3-4 years now. I mean, I'm kind of a car nut. Like I've had when I got a job and you're like first car, I'm gonna go buy cars. Holy shit! If you're gonna tell you how much money I've blown on freaking automobiles, it's retarded.
I don't want to talk about
We
it.
don't. We can compare numbers off air.
Because like I've had like so many Subarus or different brand imports and whatnot, German cars too. And when it came to like 3 years ago, I was like, you know what? There was nothing on the market that I wanted. So I ended up with I got the import car. It's a 96 WRX STI. So it's a genuine STI.
Nice.
It was a version 3. So it was kind of like before they did some of the faceless stuff to the car. So I've got too much money into it because it's been repainted now. It had the version 3 bumper on it. Now it's got a version 5 or version 6 bumper, grill, headlights, wing, side skirts. It's on some crazy ass coilovers I put on it. I have 6 speeds. Swapped the entire drive line, so I've done diff, axles, drive shaft, trans, clutch. It's got Brembos on it now too. But it's on its original engine yet. So some 100,000 miles, and it's basic as could be. It's a go-kart.
Yeah.
There's no sound dead in the car. It's a rattle box. It's got power steering and ABS, but everything else is manual. There's no airbags, no sound. You can knock on the roof and it echoes. It's just a piece of tin. Everything in it's aluminum too, which is nuts. The roof, the trunk, the hood, like it's a real light car, and it's just a lot of fun to drive. And I still have a long way to go with it. You always think you're done, but last year was the drive line. This year the engine comes out, and
Are you swapping
gonna-
it, or are you building that engine, or anything special?
well, what's in it now is well, I don't know how much you know about it, but the engine code's EJ20K.
Yeah.
Which is not a desirable engine. It's a good engine, but they tend to have rod bearing failures and stuff
Right,
like
right.
that. So it's one of those deals where what's going in it is a built 2-liter because I want to keep it a 2-liter.
Yeah.
Built heads.
Well,
but it won't have variable valve timing.
the 2.5 heads
So-
go on those, don't they, or something like that?
You could do a 2.5 with 2.0 heads.
Okay. I was
They just have
backwards.
to be chamber.
Okay.
Yeah, they just have to be chamber matched.
Gotcha.
But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it a 2-liter for what it is.
Sure.
And it's turning into more financial than if I were to get a 2.5 out of like a 2019 STI or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just get the heads done, it would be cheaper. But now we're gonna end up having to put a Haltech in it and stuff like that. So it'll probably end up with a digital dash and be pretty nuts when I'm done.
Yeah.
But who knows when it'll be.
Pretty fortunate where you're at, Jason, because you're close by IAG and also Head Games Motorsports for both the port block and the cylinder head work.
Oh yeah,
Two of the best in the
IAG
business
just
there.
in Maryland. And the other nice thing is, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of 1320 Motorsports. I don't even think it's called Motorsports, but they're in Nazareth. They're like 10-15 minutes from me, and they work side by side with IAG. So
Okay.
the whole engine build, dyno tune, the whole 9 yards, because like I'm not tackling a Haltech ECU install and wiring myself. They're going to help me with that, and they're going to build the long block, but I'm going to put it in the car.
Okay.
I was
Cool.
I was thinking about trying to build an engine myself, but I'm like, that's like doing a transmission swap. Like I've never done that stuff.
Mhm.
I decided to tackle a driveline swap on my own, and I even got it wrong the first time. So like I had the car all done after Thanksgiving, right before Christmas, and there was no snow on the road. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna go test drive it. And the moment I pulled it out of the garage, all I heard was wonderful ting 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 ting. I'm like, what the hell is that? Well, the flywheel bolt came loose. That's trans out. So
Mhm.
you,
Yep.
everything you just did, take it all
Yep.
back apart. And
No,
now it's red locked.
I've done the thing a couple times with like the old school small blocks and the automatic transmissions where, you got your flywheel on and you put the transmission up and you put the bell housing bolts in and then you look over on the floor and there sits the torque converter. I've done that a few times. I don't know why I don't learn my fucking lesson, but
Yeah,
What's the-
I was. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
I was gonna say, what's the goal for the car once it's all done, Jason? Like autocross sounds like a badass autocross.
yeah, it
car.
would be.
It's like halfway between a show car and an autocross car.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like the thing is, like it's been repainted, so the body's been through, like everything's been out. sanded down, resprayed it, and it's black. And it's like one of those deals where like, man, I don't want to shit the car up.
Yeah.
But then as I drive it and it gets like it's got a couple paint chips in it now, and it's like, well, you got to knock the, you know,
Yeah.
you
Get the
just got
cobwebs
to do
out.
it.
Yeah.
You got to drive it. Like, can it be painted again? Sure, fuck it, I don't care. And I'll like, and so like that's why I've been enjoying it. Like even right now, it's the oil pan leaks, so it goes and lands right on the header. And I'm like, all right, just keep driving it and don't care. But like, it's because of the coilovers are on it. They're what are they? I'm trying to think of the brand. They're made by Fortunato, but I forget the name of the guy that I got them through. Anyway, they're crazy because the car drives better now than it did with the stuff that was on it. Like it's smoother. But when you turn them up, it's a go-kart. It's nuts.
Yeah.
And because of the Brembos on it now, that car only weighs like 2,600 pounds.
Right.
So it'll do it like it's almost do a freaking stoppie. It's like, holy crap, it doesn't need much brake pedal feed to stop the car. And it's like, it's got bigger bars on it too. So yeah, Mike Ream bought a Mustang and he's like, oh, let's go down to the Jersey Motorsports Park. Come on. The only way I'd probably entertain that is if I got a trailer and then pulled the car down there. It's a Subaru, it will break. I don't care.
That's how it starts. Just ballparks, snowballs from there. Like, once you start getting the trailer, then you're like, well, I don't need to drive it anymore, so let's just make it undrivable.
Twin turbo it and
Yes.
Well, I mean that's a conversation for another time because I did win an SCCA championship like in 2002, 2001.
Oh.
So yeah.
So you are a wheelman too.
There's a method to my madness because this 96 WRX, my first new car that I bought was a 2000 2.5 RS, another Subaru. Now this 96 STI is essentially the same car. So I know it inside and out. And I still had parts left over from that car from way back when. So there's a lot of things that like, could I go do a track day? Absolutely. And I didn't have a trailer for that car back then. I was driving it to and from the track, but hell, like now definitely a trailer. But if it comes to that, I might have to say goodbye to one of them's got to take over.
Yeah.
Real car or toy cars.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that. And
I'm not
Taylor
getting
does.
younger, so
Yeah.
it's like even everybody's like, how long do you keep going racing RC cars?
Yeah.
I've had that question asked a lot. That's hard to say.
I was gonna say, moving on from the big car stuff, how did you get so dang fast with RC cars, Jason? Are you practicing every weekend? How often are you running?
Dude, back when I started, like say in 94, 95, I was, when you're in school, you have all the time in the world, and I was going to trades lanes and running on that track, God, 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Wow.
That was just on carpet, right? Running oval. And things were awfully cheaper then to do that kind of thing. And then in 96, I started working for trades lanes, and I worked there until 2005, 2006. So working there lends itself to just, wheel time. You're going to go and mess around. You're always screwing around with the cars. And, so then you're getting a lot of practice. But as I switched to off-road, I wouldn't say I'm doing a lot of practice. And maybe that's hurt me. The only time, I take advantage of how LCRC does their multi-day events. So that Thursday, Friday practice thing, I'm there Wednesday night now to be bright and early Thursday. And, there are times like, at least these past few races, Bugan Challenge, Cancer Race, like burn a gallon of fuel just in practice, which is quite a bit. But once I leave LCRC, unless I've got another race I'm going to, like Trains and Lanes or wherever I might be going, no, I'm not going to like some random track and getting wheel time. I used to, but not anymore. And I think a lot of that is like I'll prep the cars, and I don't want to go and have to redo it during the week to go to another event. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just laziness. I don't know. Because I've had Tom Petrella ask me that too. He's like, "Do you feel like you're getting faster or getting slower as you age?" And I would say right now I'm staying about the same. And so at
You're
least
not
as
getting slower.
I'm not getting slower.
No.
Like, I would say Mugen Challenge was probably one of my better weekends because I know, especially in the main final, I had a top 5 car the whole race. I ended up getting tangled in a mess that someone created that pushed me from 5th at the time to 9th in one lap.
Do you want to say
Um,
who it was? It's okay if you don't.
Oh, you want to? No, I can, dude. It was to a point where I even took snapshots from the video to find out, like, because it happened so fast that I don't know who it was that I hit, and then I got rear-ended after that by Spencer Heckert, and Heckert
Oh.
even came up to me after the race apologizing to me, and I was like, I didn't even know it was him that rear-ended me,
Yeah.
because I thought at that point my car was broke, but it wasn't. It kept going. But the person that created the accident was Greg Harmer.
Oh.
Greg spun out Mark, which I ended up hitting Mark in the door, jumping over him, doing a cartwheel, and at that point my car's just flipping like crazy to the point where that's where Spencer got it. So it was all just a series of events that went from shit 5th to 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't even know what happened. Your car
I
just
didn't-
landed on the wheels. And
I
4
didn't
people
see
passed
it,
you.
but I seen the big accident and all the cars going all over. And I'm just on the
Yeah.
mic with Lutz, and I'm like, big accident over here. Avoid it. Just let him know.
So I can't even remember it, and I was in the booth for it. That's
Oh yeah, like I even like Big Mike's on the headset, like what in the hell? And I'm like, all I
Yeah.
saw was my car flying, and I'm like, and what added insult to injury there was like, Kevin had the Pro main and the 40 plus main back to back,
yeah.
so it was like, shit, if my car is broke, what do I do? I need to
Yeah.
either DNF this race and go fix it, or hope like hell that it's okay, and then run another 25-minute long final.
Take some flack off of Kevin's
Unfortunately-
back. It was me that put him back to back. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because he said it was the first time he wasn't in the booth to set up the mains.
It was me.
But it's a good thing you got like 3 cars of the same model.
Yeah, yeah.
With you, right?
You got to bring your 40 plus car and your AMS 40 plus car.
Well, note to that was that Sunday we were expecting some weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were, but it never happened.
Yeah, it
And
changed.
I remember when we woke up and the weather was nice and they started on time. I immediately went to Kevin and said, "Do I need to get another car ready?" And he looked at me funny and he's like, "Well, why do you ask?" I'm like, "Well, if you're going to make the Nitro Buggy, the Pro Main 45 minutes like you want to do, I need to have another car ready for 40 plus." And he's like, "Well, hold that thought." I never got a straight answer out of him the whole day because it was never to a point where the weather was threatening.
Yeah.
And so I only did one car. And fortunately, it turned out okay because I think even at the end there, they were worried about rain anyway. But if he would have thrown that 45-minute long final at me right at the last minute, I would have
Yeah.
been fine with it for the Romaine, but 40 plus, I don't know. It would have been, especially with a clutch and stuff like that. You want to take the engine out, check bearings, make sure it's going to survive a little bit longer. Diffs and shocks would have been okay.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those deals where, come on, it just went through war. It needs to go again.
Yeah. It did end up raining. What was it, 6 o'clock? I think it started coming down pretty good
Yeah.
that evening. But no, and we made it clear after I saw the boo-boo I made of putting y'all back to back, because it was 3 or 4 of you, I think, were back to back. It was a couple of you. But
Well, Nitro Buggy, I think I was the only one.
well,
at
maybe
40
you were.
plus.
Okay. Well, anyways, Kevin and I both agreed, like, okay, made a mistake, never do it again. On top of that, we're going to take a breather, a complete breather, however long it needs from this race to that race, the racers need, they get, and then we'll get into it. So,
Yeah, I think when I ran back to the pits, I changed tires, air filter, glow plug, wiped the body off, wiped the wing off, fired it up, and I was back out there. in like
yeah,
5
you were
minutes.
quick, yeah, because I was ready to give you like 10, 15, and you're like, yep, let's do it. I'm like, okay, if you're ready.
I think the funniest part of that whole race, like a 40+ race, is what 5 minutes to go. I was on a headset with Big Mike, and I'm like, I don't want to drive this anymore. And he's like, come on, dude, 5 more minutes. I'm like, can you come up and drive this? I'm done.
Did he do it? Did he drive it?
No,
Oh.
he wouldn't do that.
That would have been awesome.
I would have let him. That would have been great.
That
to
would have
see
been
drive my car. My
hilarious.
car was actually, it was good that weekend. He would have easily been able to drive it.
And then in Kevin's defense about the weather, not telling you how long of a main we're going to have right away, we were both watching the weather, and it seemed like it was changing every minute that you look at it.
Yeah.
So tough to make that call that early.
I just like anybody, I would have loved to run a 45-minute long final.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was amped up to do. That's the whole point of that event, if you think about it, like for the pro guys in the main. And when you get it knocked down to 25 and you're seeing that on the sheets when you go to bed at night, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
But then it's also a load off because a 25 to us is like a drop in the bucket. It's
Yeah.
a small race. So it's not a big deal. It's just a sprint. And 45, you got to think about it longer. You have tire wear to involve, pit strategy that's different, just driving a different pace, and who's going to fall out, because some of the guys that finished in the top 5 wouldn't have finished anyway. There's so you just don't know, but that was like but it is what it is. Everybody had a good time, so
Yeah.
it was the race went out without a hitch.
The night before, we were full, like, not full, but it was like the night before in our heads was like 90% chance we're going to start late or something like that,
Oh yeah.
So I
Yep.
had my alarm set to like late start time. I had like one alarm set to you need to get up and go because we're starting on time, and the rest of them were like late start time. And I like woke up in the middle of the night, like 4 a.m., checked the weather. There's this big red spot that was supposed to hit in an hour right at the track. I'm like, I'm good. I'm going to go back to sleep. Woke up at my get ready right now time, and no rain. Everything's dry. There's nothing on the radar. I'm like, fuck, we gotta go. Like, I feel like I was still putting on my belt as I'm running out of my camper to go grab a mic.
What's also funny is we were while those guys were working on the heat sheets and the mains, Ethan Mechanic and I were up top. We were talking about setup, and everyone was kind of struggling because the track conditions were just abnormal for what we're kind of used to. It was more loose, loamy, and all that. And,
Oh yeah.
Ethan and I were talking. We're about a half hour into the conversation. We're like, oh, you know what? It doesn't even matter. We're just going to go back to our base setups anyways because it's going to rain overnight. And then it'll be super high grip that we're used to on a typical Sunday main. And none of anything that we're testing or preparing for is going to matter. We wake up. It never rained. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, and it's been that way for the past couple races at LCRC.
Yeah.
Where I know what happened the last race, so that what Kevin attempted to do there, and that I don't know. That was, I would say, considered a failed experiment.
With the oil?
I mean, let's put it this way: like when you're during like Thursday practice, I'm like, man, the car is great. Friday, it's like progressively getting worse. You don't know what's truly going on until Kevin actually told me and Ethan. But Saturday morning in that first round of qualifying, that was probably the most hilarious 6 minutes of driving. Like, I somehow hit the pipe and went over the wall on like
Really?
lap 2, get put back down. But the car was so ungodly loose. You're like on a green reflex. That's the most moron-proof tire you can put on your car.
Yeah.
And I'm just like drifting everywhere. It didn't matter what section of the track. It was just completely low grip the whole way around. Even with leaving the track, I TQ'd the round. And I'm like, what the hell? Everybody that walked off that driver's stand was like, what happened? Where did the track go? Like,
This was first qual of Saturday.
That was first qual Saturday. It was so weird. Like, I can safely say that I've been LCRC for 15 plus years, and it's never. I've driven on the track when I've woken up and had to run on it when there was frost on it, and there was more grip on the frost than there was on that.
Interesting.
So I was like, holy crap.
See, I loved it first round with my. I mean, we're on completely different levels here, but like my e-buggy, that's when I did my best, was first round. Personally, I don't know where we lined up compared to order for the round. I know I was on the later side, but oh
Well, round two was a lot better, but it was still not like what we would consider
yeah,
good
oh
race.
yeah, yeah. Round one was not like what the primo, the standard was. I'm not saying that, but I wouldn't myself, my car, I wouldn't say it was like what you're describing. But again, different levels. I don't know when you were on the heat sheet, so the track might have been better when I went out. I don't know.
I mean, I wasn't hating on it because
Yeah,
a
no,
lot of
yeah,
times,
I know what you
that,
mean.
that was like it was rewarding driving patience.
Yeah.
If the car isn't going to give you something, what are you going to do? And I was just giving it what it could give me back,
Yeah.
and it rewarded me for that. But as grip comes up, then you start seeing all these guys that could push harder than maybe what you're capable of doing,
Mm-hmm.
or trust yourself in doing. And it's like, that's where Greg is so good. Ethan too. Um, sometimes Gavin. Uh, oh my God,
Fucina?
why am I forgetting?
Fucina?
No, not for. No, the other one.
Gibbler?
Nipple.
Gibbler. Yeah, Gibbler's
Oh,
he's a wild one, but he can sometimes like just like wow push a car to another limit. At least an e-buggy. Um, I don't even know why I would forget his name like that unless it's just on the spot. But yeah, it's and I'm usually pretty good on high grip because that's where touring car comes in. That's. I know these kids are good.
Kids are fast. They also don't listen. Kids don't listen, but they're fast.
so
Yeah.
that event, in the beginning when we were first talking, you said that you told Mike on the radio that you were on the wrong tire for the main. What tire did you go out on?
So that was a one where I'm like, well, I got to do what others aren't doing. Round two of qualifying, I think that we were running a little bit in the dusk.
Yeah.
I know on my truck I ran green relapses and it was freaking awesome. Like had I not made a couple bobbles where not required a Marshall, but I probably had a shot at TQing over Greg, like doing an 11 lap run. Nitro buggy, I was on green relapses too in second round, and it was like, okay, this is good. The car felt like that's what it wanted. I just made mistakes. I was leading the heat and made mistakes. Now in the main, it was like, it's not going to be hot. It was overcast. So I decided to go on green relapses. But as I'm putting my car down, on the tables there, and you're seeing what everybody else has on their car, and Ethan's got like blue stalkers on his car, so he went like real safe. A lot of people were running reflexes, and honestly, I probably should have been on reflexes. I know my car likes that tire, at least a blue reflex. And I knew, like I said, when I went out, I went down the straightaway. I hung that first right-hand turn, the hairpin, and the car just washed like four-wheel slid. This was on a clean track, and I'm like, oh boy. So if it's drifting there, it's going to drift everywhere. And
Yeah.
and actually, it was even worse because in the spot said it did not drift, it gripped too much. So it was like you turn the wheel, and it would instantly respond to your input, which I like that, but the rear wasn't responding. So it was one of those deals where once it started sliding, it was going to keep sliding, where a reflex wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So, like, had I like stopped the car and said, "Mike, go get freaking blue reflexes," or sitting on my table and just throw them on the car. Sometimes I don't know, I won't trust myself in saying go make that kind of tire change because what if you make the wrong call? What if the
Mhm.
tires will get better as they warm up or something like that? You don't know, but like I hung with Ethan for a few laps, but speed wise, he just walked away, and I had a good race with Harmer at least, and I did finally beat him.
Yeah.
But,
What's your favorite event to go to of all year?
of everything that I usually go to, man, anymore, like I don't get to travel a whole heck of a lot. Like I hit PMB up early in the year. I like Psycho Nitroblast. It's a lot of fun. I try to hit every LCRC race. It's not my home track, but I would still say it basically is my home track, despite Trains Lanes being next door to me. Because I don't even really go to practice or anything there. I go race and help the guys out there. Um, and then I also go to AMS. I'm going to AMS here in a few weeks. Um, I went first time last year. Red and I went down, and we're going to do it again. That race, I would say honestly, if I had to pick a race to go to, that one is my favorite. It's a unique event, and that's they cap the entries at like 320. But the reason they do that is you get 3 rounds of practice on Thursday. You get your 3 rounds of qualifying on Friday. Saturday they're doing Super Pole, 10-minute Super Pole runs, and then they'll run some lower finals. Every lower final is a half hour long, whether it's a D main or a C main or B main. They're all half hours. So if you're in a Super Pole race and you're in a B, if you win the B in the Super Pole, you're automatically in the A. But then if you still have to run the B main the following day, you can still bump into the A main. You just have one guy that bumps instead of two. So you have every effort, every opportunity to do well, and a ton of track time like that. So I use that as my end of the season deal, and it's just it's an awesome event. If I want to single out my favorite event at LCRC, I don't know. There isn't one single event that's better than the others. They're all to me the same. I love them all. So, it's a tough one.
Yeah. That's all I got. Alex, you want to lead into a couple things?
Yeah, while we're on the topic of picking Jason's brain here, for the listeners, the followers, the watchers, and Jason, I don't know if you were privy, but on the last one when we had the Treharns on, we started talking about marshalling, and we had a little clip that went a little viral. There was some discussion in the comments on the Facebooks about it regarding marshalling. So I want to ask you, Jason, what could be some tips that you would give to someone that like a newer racer when it's their time to marshal? What could you tell them to help them be the best marshal they can be?
Wow. Well, and a lot of race directors will harp on this. And I did catch some of the clips that you guys had with the Trehards about this as well. That whole, when you're going out to marshal, only yourself. Like, don't take anything with you. All right, no cell phone. All right, no freaking headsets. Maybe take a bottle of water if you need a drink if it's going to be a longer final or something like that. But don't take your radio. Don't take your car. I'm guilty of that. I've done it myself. And yes, I have had my radio hit while it was sitting on the ground.
Oh, wow.
And it's one of those deals. Thankfully, it didn't break it, but it was one of those things where, crap, you didn't have anywhere to put your car.
Right.
So you just took it with you. And that was just a side thing. But make sure you don't take that stuff with you. You want to be on the track so that your full attention is on the cars. These are 8-scale cars or even 10-scale cars. It doesn't matter. If you get hit by one, it's going to hurt. So you have to pay attention. Keep yourself aware. I've seen so many people on their phones while marshaling. Mr. Ophir is so damn good at that one. Although he's not allowed to partake at LCRC any further, but still, it's an example that you just need to be aware of your surroundings. These cars are in the air. They're on the ground. They're doing 20 to 30 miles an hour. They are 8 to 10 pounds, or well, I wouldn't say that heavy, but still, regardless.
Maybe even 12 if you're a techno.
If you're a techno short course, it's 15.
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing is just awareness. And, when a car flips over, and everybody's guilty of this, especially with nitro cars. They're also concerned about making sure that they don't flame out. But if they are hitting the throttle, don't touch it. It's not your fault that they're upside down. Mm-hmm. And I've had so many people yell and scream when their cars are upside down because you're not touching it. And, some of them are unaware that their engines are so lean that they're running on upside down. It's like I try to, when you are driving a nitro car, yeah, Toby's good at that. Oh my gosh. But like, I'll do the same thing. When I am upside down, I will gas it. I'll give it about like quarter to half throttle just to actually get it to lean out, so it doesn't flame from a rich condition. But then I'll smack the brakes. Mm-hmm. That'll buy you 5 seconds, 10 seconds on your lid without flaming out. Because if you do just let it idle, you don't know if just jarring it's going to stall it. But give the marshal every chance they can go to get it without the wheel spinning, because there's plenty of people that have stuck their hands in, caught their finger on an outdrive, ripped the nail off their finger, cut their finger on something like that when the wheels are spinning. So, if you're going to pick it up by the wing, the bumper up the front of the car, grab a tire. Even so, I mean, I do it all the time when a car is, the wheels are spinning pretty heavily. Just grab a tire. At least on a nitro car, unless it's wide open throttle, don't touch it. But if it's just spinning at a decent speed, I've picked it up enough where the driveline spun the car back over on its wheels and just got going. So I think that's the biggest thing is with the nitro cars. Electric, it's not so big of a deal, but for anybody that's out there new, you see a lot of kids that are scared of the cars because they think that might hurt them. And that's where I got to express to drivers that they have to be patient. I've seen it happen to a lot of guys where kids are like they're inching towards them, but they won't go get it because a car is coming down the straightaway that's still about 50 yards away. You're like, well, go get it. You're trying to get the kid to go get it. Well, they're worried about their safety as well. So can you be mad at them? No.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're on your lid for that's your fault. So, yeah, the biggest thing is just paying attention and making sure that you don't have your pockets full of stuff, that you're not taking any valuable stuff out there with you. The big thing, obviously, phones. I've seen people step on their phones and they fall out of their pocket, break their screens, like that. It's like, that's dumb. Why did you have it with you? You think someone is going to make a phone call to you in 5 minutes while you're out there? You're going to answer it? There's no reason for that. So
I think that also leads back to because I usually have my phone just on me normally, but I'm always in jeans or cargo shorts so this goes back to where Cody was talking about proper attire at an RC track. The phones you see flying out tend to be out of sweatpants or gym shorts or clothes, looser clothes of that nature. So I think those kind of go hand in hand with each other. If you're going to have things in your pocket, have proper pants that keep them secure. And if your pockets aren't secure, don't have anything in your pocket. You know what I mean?
We could solve this by having a fanny pack.
The Marshall fanny pack, yes.
I will
Radio.
I'll throw this one. I've gone out to Corner Marshall with like a glow igniter and a tuning screwdriver in my pocket.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
Because there was one time I actually leaned over and the tuning screwdriver stabbed me right in the. And it was like, oh, what the hell? This is, you don't want it. Just don't. That's all I got to say.
Same way with like your keys too, like your car keys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They'll get you.
Yeah.
So in turn with that, so now you gave very good marshalling advice, and I love all of that. Now, what advice could you give to drivers in regards to marshals? Like as you're driving, if you flip over, or how to avoid, how to set yourself up for success while you're racing, or how to not be an asshole, essentially.
Like, don't wreck.
Wow. I mean, I think this one requires payment to answer this. Because it's such a tough one, like when you're racing, whether you're a novice, or halfway decent or whatever grade you are of a driver, everybody has a passion for it. That's why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you make a mistake, whether it's your fault or somebody hit you or whatever, you're already upset. And if a marshal is off getting another car, or simply just scared of getting it, or just takes a long time to go get it, it is what it is. I mean, I was that guy too a long time ago that would like yell at people and like be mad about it. And then I realized, like, why?
Mm-hmm.
What do you get out of it?
Yep.
Like, you could be pissed, like, and like, I've seen a lot of like the Voso will yell sometimes at people. Big Mike does it, and we're all guilty of it. But it's one of those deals where everybody will calm down and see the other side of it once they're all calmed down. But it's like, how to tell these guys to not be that inflamed on the driver's stand when something goes down.
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard.
It is, yeah.
it's a personality trait, and like, I'm usually a pretty calm person. It takes quite a bit to piss me off, and some people just have shorter straws. And so I was like, "We'll do it, guys. We're all here racing. None of us are making money doing this. We're here to have fun. So if you're so concerned about like, a 5 or 6 second wreck or 10-second wreck, you know, it's going to get put back on its wheels. You're going to keep going unless you flame out or whatever happens. But the marshal didn't put you on the lid.
Mm-hmm.
You did, or whoever, racing did it. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
I like that.
So just, I just see like, anymore like the calmer side of it, the cooler heads prevail. There's just no reason to be pissed off about it. Because like, even, you could be in an A main fighting for the lead and you wreck. Just like even when that fighting for fifth at the Mugen Challenge and dropping the ninth in one wreck, and when I had to look at who did it, was there really reason for me to find out who the hell did it? Not really. It happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was a bystander of it. I didn't need to get marshaled, but still, 2 other cars needed to get marshaled. But it was one of those deals where you're just like, well, shit. I would have gotten my picture taken and got a trophy.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the end of the day, it's like, all right, I know I did what I needed to do. I enjoyed myself. I get to go home to my family, go to work the next day, all is well. That's the thing for 99% of us or whoever the guys that get paid to do it. It's like, so just chill out,
Yeah.
I think some of the guys that treat it, that get that anger and start yelling at people, it's like, it doesn't help anything. I know that Kevin has to stand on the driver's stand sometimes and tap people on the shoulder and call these folks out. I know you do it too, Alex, like just monitoring people to make sure that they're not being big profanity and just yelling at people on the driver's stand. There's no need for that. It's like tell people to just calm down.
No, I've definitely recently I found myself like if I'm on a really good run or like I haven't wrecked yet or I haven't made any like major mistakes, and then I end up making that like one like uh this would have been when I was at Schaefer's. I was on a really good run, setting TQ pace or like right there within a couple tenths of TQ, and just the one turn I forgot to turn the car and I drove clean off the track into the next zip code basically, and
Yep.
I just kind of backed off the stand and started laughing at myself because like it was a long marshal because the marshal had to catch a cab to go over next town over and get it, but what are you gonna do? Like I did it, and like it's funny to me, like, oh, here you are, you're finally figuring it out, you're on a good run and you Schultz yourself, we call it. It was inevitable, it happened, haha. And the old saying, if we don't laugh we'll cry, so I choose to laugh. I might be crying on the inside, but
Yeah, I have just a good one for you. I just have to shoot this out because you're saying making that mistake. This is Tilt Yard 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. The start of the A main. I think it was lap 2. Their backstretch, the back wall is quite low. So if you make a mistake, it could lend yourself to flying off the track and going down about a 15 to 20 foot embankment into a creek. Now the creek's dried up, but still you're going pretty far out there. And I think it was like lap 2. I went over the wall and nobody saw it.
Oh.
I was in second when I flew over the wall. I was standing next to Chicky on the driver's stand. And all I hear out of him, he goes, "No, you didn't." And I'm like, "Yeah, I left the track." We're yelling. Everybody's yelling. Now there's so much noise that not one single quarter marshal, nobody saw it. So Carlos Cruz was pitting for me. He had to run up the embankment, run all the way around the track, ran all the way out there. Just mind you, about 2.5 minutes.
Wow.
That he actually got to the car. It was still running, and it wasn't running. He threw it on the track, and I kept going. Shortly after, Lutz has 3 tires come off the wheel, and then Chicky was leading, and he flamed out. And I'm like, shit, I'm still in this. So I actually had the chance to win, and I went over the wall again.
What?
This
Oh.
time, somebody saw it out of the corner of their eye, but didn't think about it. Didn't think that a car actually went over. And I'm yelling and screaming. A marshal finally like, maybe I should go look. I think maybe a car did go over there. Another 50 seconds later, they did go and look, and it's like, but at that point, the whole time we're just on the driver's stand laughing our asses off because it's just like, what are you do?
Yeah.
Going over a wall twice, losing over 3 minutes of
Yep.
run time, sitting over a wall. You're just like, wow, that was so dumb. Yeah, still the fact that my pit guy had to go get me because nobody saw it was funny. And
Yeah.
I felt bad for Carlos because he was on the headset and he's running to get it and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. He was so out of breath. He got back to the pit. When he got back to the pit, all I heard was the headset change and it was Brian Cruz took over. He goes, I'm like, how are you pitting me? He's like, my dad's dead. Like, yeah.
That's
times.
funny. So
So with the cancer race coming up, Jason, what are you doing to prepare for that?
Halloween race.
You
You mean the Halloween race?
yeah, sorry, Halloween race. I'm a month behind. What are you doing to prepare for that? You got your cars all ready to go, or?
Yeah, they were ready last week.
Mhm.
So, well, this time I'm playing it kind of light. I won't be there until Thursday night because it's run Friday. I'm only running nitro buggy, so the truck gets the week off. And I set up a car, kind of reset it. I wanted to start messing with going back to a default setup. When I ran at the cancer race, I was not running my default. I was trying different things. I burned a lot of fuel just trying different stuff, and even there, I was starting to get away from where I need to be. So the car that I'm gonna run is what I always run. See where we're at, and obviously because we're gonna have a new layout that I guess we'll get to see. I don't know if you guys got to see it yet, but Taylor's smiling, which means you must have seen something.
It's always smiling. I'm just always happy.
From what I could collect from the last hump day, it sounds like a Saner 6-pack is involved.
Dirty rats. Oh,
I'm not saying
Do you
there
not
is.
like 6-packs and stuff like that, Jason? Or
I do not. I am notoriously bad at that stuff.
okay,
Like whether it's a rhythm section or like a true honest to God, like having to pick between doing a double or a triple or something like that where there's a decision maker there.
Mhm.
I'm not really good at those. But if it's like a really big double or a step jump or something
Yeah.
like that, I'm fine. But
Yeah.
like when there's an option with it, I don't know. Like I get set in a way and I don't change it. And it might not be the fastest way, but yeah. But 6-pack, I'm gonna have words with Kevin.
I'm.
maybe we'll have a 12-pack.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I owe Toby a
You know,
12-pack
if we're
after he
big enough
beat
where
me.
you can just jump them all. Yeah. Put
But
your car down backwards.
I think we'll learn that. I think we'll get a layout reveal. Hopefully. Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll do it before hump day, or they might do it as hump day. They've been really
Probably on hump
they've
day.
been getting really good at the what's the
It's
word?
usually
The build
Wednesday
up for it.
Thursday.
Yeah. So this might be out before we get the layout reveal, which is fine. But I'm excited for that.
Probably hours before.
Yeah.
Jason, what tires do you like to bring with you to LCRC?
God, that's always an easy one. Thank God.
Yeah, I know. I just had this question earlier. Somebody messaged me. So, especially when it's a beginner, there's one tire with multiple compounds I like to tell them to have. But I want to hear what your take is on it.
Yeah. So, just to let you guys know, I mean, obviously you probably already know, but like I'm a freelance when it comes to tires. I don't run for J Concepts or any tire brand for that matter, so I can run whatever I want. With that being said, my go-to tires at LCRC is J Concepts. So, like, to always have on hand, especially like surrounding what we're looking at forecast-wise for this coming week, green and blue reflexes, and probably green and blue relapses. That's probably about it. If it's gonna rain, or we get any sort of rain, you might see a double bar on the track, like a green or a blue double bar, or Dirt Web 2, something like that. But that is not needed. You could do every bit as good on a reflex or a relapse. in the event it's really dusty, like where Ethan threw out the freaking stalkers, which I did not expect. Sometimes that tire works. I don't even think I've got any physically in my stash of stuff, but I just generally stay like you start off on reflexes. If the track truly cleans up, you go to relapses, and if it gets dusty, you go throw reflexes back on. It's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
What do you think Drake was on double bars during that point in time at the Mugen Challenge when it was really dusty like that? He seemed to really like them and enjoy them.
I was too.
Yeah.
In both qualifiers for Pro Nitro Buggy, I ran double bars. I think in 40 plus, I just ran reflexes though, because that way, like that was one where you could kind of cheat a little bit or use 40 plus to your advantage to test stuff.
Yeah.
But the double bars, they're not a bad tire. It does take some steering away, but it is very stable. It's very smooth. It does have a decent amount of forward grip. It does have to be decently clean.
Yeah.
And there can be some dust on top, but like if you were trying to run a Dirt Web 2 where we were running the double bars, you wouldn't be able to do what we were doing.
Yeah.
Double bars will just slide around, but the Dirt Web the Dirt Webs would have slid around. The double bars though, they have a pin to them. The bar's a little tall, so it can move some dust. Like I think even at the cancer race, I practiced on them to see if it would be any good, and they were just okay. Like a reflex was just a safer bet.
Yeah. You ever run an ellipse in the conditions where like it just poured rain and we sawdusted and the grip's super high and there's no dust on the track?
I have not, and I should. Let's put it that way.
You should.
Because like every single time that I've tried that, or not tried it, but rather we got to that scenario, I would be the wuss and run like relapses because they would be decent on that type of surface.
Yeah.
And then Ethan throws freaking ellipses on and just smokes everybody.
The amount of forward drive you have when the moisture keeps all of the loose marbles and stuff at bay and you just have a clean surface, an ellipse, or like a good bar tire like that. Especially in like a green compound or something to deal with the moisture. Oh my gosh, it's got so much forward drive. You give it a shot sometime. You'll like it.
I have a set mounted in the box for that specific scenario. We just haven't had it yet this year.
We have not. No, I always have a set of green ellipses mounted, ready to go for that scenario, though. Yeah, same.
Yep.
I want to circle back a little bit, in a way, because when you were talking about how you don't like six packs, Jason, I have this clip. I don't know if you were watching any of that race Elite was covering at Shaw's what's it called? The Shaw's Truck Nats at Shaw's RC. I had the chance to watch some short course earlier today from there, and beyond me being a short course fanboy, and the racing was just awesome. They have this sweet, like, I'm looking at it here on my screen. It's almost a six pack in a way, like some sort of rhythm section, but I'm going to share my screen. I think you should be able to view it, Jason, if you click a button when I click a button. So there, I click the button.
Let's see. I mean, I'm on my phone, so I don't know if it's going to show anything.
I forget if it does or not.
I'm not seeing anything.
Do you remember, Taylor, how that works for him? Well, I'm going to play for the viewers. Go ahead, Taylor. What were you saying?
Nope.
I'll have to send you a picture, Jason, or a clip.
Okay.
But you got it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to click play here as we...
In that number 2 spot, followed by Ashley Green in the 3, Heath Evans 4, Carl 5. 1 minute down, 4 minutes left to go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now working the back section of the track here to come on the right-hand side. Problems there for our race leader. It's going to be TJ Ball coming across the line, out in front now. Mayfield holding on to number 2 with Evans working the 3. TJ Ball feeling some pressure here at the off-camber from Mayfield. Mayfield looking to the inside. Mayfield going to take position away. Mayfield now up to that number 2. Heath Evans right there as well. Problems going wide there for Mayfield. Going to fall down to number 2 spot. He and Heath Evans battling out as they bump fenders. TJ Ball back out in front. 1, 2, and 3. Top left-hand side of track as they come down the hill. Oh, bicycling through the corner there for TJ. Kept it on all 4 wheels. Oh, no, now his body's coming loose in the back. He's okay. All right. Okay, a little intense there, a little intense.
5 minutes left.
It's been broken. We got that part. Heath Evans right now with the race lead.
Anyway, I need to set it up still to where they can hear us talking while I play videos. They didn't hear what we were saying. They only heard the video, unfortunately, because I'm not extremely good at this stuff. But
Jason just gave the perfect secrets for everyone being super fast and finishing A-main.
and we're not cheering.
Tune in next week and then
Just like that, yeah.
yep.
But yeah. So that I don't know what you want to call it, rhythm section, I guess, and that just looks like such a fun section there.
That's definitely a fun section because like you have options there, but I wouldn't say that was like if you're running an 8-scale buggy, like that wouldn't have been that would have been quite easy.
Yeah, that's definitely not a hard set.
Yeah.
And Davey,
and even the short courses like that. I mean, I love 4-wheel short courses, but don't get me to. I'm not getting one. I don't care what Toby says.
What if I hand you one?
Oh, I'll drive one. That's fine.
I'll hold you to it. Cancer race next year.
Oh, game on.
done.
Okay.
Game on.
But that section with the short courses, I loved when they took that inside line over that first tabletop because they just just launched so high in the air, and just the short course racing at this race. And for the listeners and the viewers and all that, go get on Elite's YouTube, hit subscribe while you're there, and watch the Shaw's Truck Nats. What am my time mark is 3:18. Those first 3 to 4 minutes of this race. I mean, the whole race was really good of their A1. But the first 3 to 4 minutes is exceptionally good. The top 3, just like every single turn, they're just knocking doors, jumping over one another, and I was on the edge of my seat just watching on the computer. I just wanted to highlight that. Elite did great coverage. I only watched that little bit of what they did, but Lance was killing it and his guys, so wanted to shout them out. And then I wanted to show that track feature, and I have a picture I got to send to Cody, and I'm going to show him it, and I'm going to like, Cody, build that next year at some point. But,
He'll probably be like, you come on down and help that.
yeah, probably.
You deliver some of that equipment.
Yeah, well, yeah, I might be able to get the hook up there. We'll see. But, and that's a whole nother thing, as I'm looking at this picture on my screen, is Marshall's on buckets. So that's a whole. How does everyone feel about marshals on buckets? We can cover that pretty quick. You like to be standing while you're marshalling. You like to be sitting.
I mean, it depends on the track. Especially one that's flat. People on buckets is a good thing from a visibility.
For vision,
thing.
yeah.
And it also lends itself to okay, well, you're putting some effort out there for them to have something to sit on. A lot of the race time events. Like P&B, AMS, all of them, they'll have buckets and they even put cushions on the top of the bucket. So when you sit down, you have something.
Why would I get up to marshal your car? I'm comfy.
Wow, look at that. I'm like, wow. And they even put at each marshal cone yellow vests.
Yeah.
Like the traffic vest. So at least when you go out, you put that on. They know it's a quarter marshal, not some random person standing out there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, they go a little bit above and beyond there. I mean, yeah, you don't need to do that everywhere, but I don't mind the bucket thing at all. I think that's actually a good thing. Not to mention, it's a nail down to say, look, there needs to be somebody here.
Yeah.
The cone's one thing, but the bucket I think is a little more, stamp in the ground to say, yeah.
There's no one sitting on that.
Yeah.
I also like the bucket idea for the aspect of the drivers on the driver's stand. Sometimes when you're sitting on a bucket, you're not blocking a turn of view for the drivers compared to if you were standing up once in a while.
And that happens a lot,
Yeah. So what worries me with the bucket from a race director point of view is knees being blown out. And by that, I mean, I know, times I've sat down to marshal and, car wrecks in front of me, I get up as quick as I can to go flip it over, and then I go to sit back down, and I'm like, wow, that hurt my knees, and I know a lot of us, whether we're older or have knee problems of whatever sort, or we're on our third freaking knee. So That's the only thing that keeps in my mind. I get worried about Marshall sitting. I think that might be the only downside to it in the grand scheme. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it at all hazardous in that aspect? Do you view that?
I mean, I personally don't think so. I think that if you can't sit, don't. At least you're
Okay.
there at the bucket.
Yeah.
Treat it as if it is a cone.
That's true.
your
Yeah,
spot
you
where
don't
need
have
be.
to sit.
Well, you don't have
Yeah,
to
you're
sit.
not forced to.
Yeah,
You have the option to.
I never
As
looked
long
at
as
it like that.
you're not sitting down and vulnerable to getting hit. Like, I'm not going to sit down next to a double or a triple
Yeah.
and having some 10-pound e-buggies flying at my head. Like, I'm going to pass on that. But
Where was Dennis and Rob at? Not the pro-am, the one before that Beach RC puts on. Rob took out one of the
I think
Marshall's
it-
buckets. Took it
I
right
was
out
thinking
from
it was
under
the
him.
Pro-Am, but maybe it wasn't.
Maybe it was the
Yeah.
pro-am.
Agent of Chaos strikes again.
Did you see the video, Jason? Did they ever show you that?
What's that?
Did they ever show you that video?
I don't think so.
I'll have to get him to show it to you. But Rob was, running his truggy, and he went around the turn and flew off the track, and he just took the bucket right out from where Marshall was sitting. It was hilarious.
The bucket is not Samoji proof.
There are
But
many things on this planet that are not.
but the bump plates,
master.
yeah, them bump masters are. But that's all I have now.
That's all I got. Jason, do you want to wrap up and thank all the people that got you here? Any special shout outs, blah, 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 the normal stuff?
Wow. I mean, as far as I got to thank my current sponsors, between Sparko and Power Hobby. It's Mohammed, dude's super cool. Obviously, Matt at Position 1 RC. He's like a brother. Been doing this a long time, so fortunately, he won't be at the Halloween race.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, his last one for the year was Cancer Race, so he'll be down south with his family for the rest of the year.
Lame. I get it.
Hopefully he watches it, and I'll say, yeah, same thing, and then he'll just give us both the finger.
Yeah, probably.
That's
Next year, give us all 7, okay, Matt?
fine. And then the rest of it, between JT Bearing, promotion. Wow, not promotion. Sorry. Leadfinger, Pro Lids. I even Drake to some extent. Drake's done a lot to help me out as well. I do run his engines, and there's gonna be some cool stuff next year coming from him as well. Can't wait to see that.
We got
Is it
all the
top
inside
secret
stuff.
stuff?
What's that?
Is it top secret stuff that you can't let us know on the podcast? Or
I'm pretty sure that if I said something, he wouldn't be too thrilled about it. So
okay,
I'll wait for him to do it. It might be soon.
All right.
Within the next, let's see, today's the 12th, maybe a couple weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always 2 weeks.
Then it might be another 2 weeks on top of that.
yeah.
Yeah, as far as people though, I mean, God, there's too many to thank. The biggest thing is my buddy Mike Ream, Big Poppy. We've been doing this shit a long time together, and it's like I hope he gets to watch this. It's like we're gonna do it again this weekend. We're gonna have some fun. He's going to AMS. Tom Petrola going too for the
Oh, that's
first
awesome.
time. We're gonna get to experience that.
Hell yeah.
And the 18-hour ride that goes along with it.
That's the best part.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Two old. They're driving together. Tom and Mike, and the two old guys driving together.
Really?
I don't know.
So you just can't ride with Williard, else he'll fume out the whole car.
I'm going with Red, so we're going in style. We get to drive
Nice.
in the truck and the trailer, so we got the whole deal, and
Nice.
leave it Tuesday morning. So, and obviously Kevin and Krista at LCRC, been with them for so long, and looking forward to coming back to the last race of the season. So looking forward to it. And to you guys, man, thanks for having me on. This is a lot of fun.
No, it's been an
Thanks
honor.
for joining. Learned
Been
a
a great
lot.
conversation.
Taylor, you want to
Absolutely.
do your thing?
LCRC, Mukansiki Racing. Toby at 46RC. He's okay, Although he sits me down backwards on the track once in a while,
Sorry,
and sits me down backwards. Usually forgets when I'm up racing. Like the one time I was up to race and Ron G's walking around the back, and I'm still got my car sitting on the table, and I'm like trying to keep it going. Ron looks up at me. I'm like, if you don't mind. And then so Ron pits me that one time. But Toby, I still forgive you. And Mike Trahorn, MT Designs, paints my bodies. They kind of look pretty sweet. Actually, that one's not even mine, but he painted it. But yeah, that's it. Alex?
You guys covered everything I'd like to cover, and I want to put out the viewers, the listeners, the watchers, the subscribers, the likers, the sharers, the commenters. Please keep it up, everything you do. We love seeing the interaction on the Facebooks. Yeah, thank you so much. Facebook's killing it right now. So if you haven't got over to the YouTube and the Spotify and the Apple Podcasts and all that, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. Drop some comments there. Want to shout out Uncle Mike. As you can see, he isn't joining us because he is on his National Lampoon's European vacation. So,
I'm right.
yeah.
Yeah, he's in Italy.
Italy, I
right
think
now?
tonight or something. Yeah. He was flirting around. He's like, "Oh, if it happens at this perfect time, I might be able to jump on because I'll be in my hotel room." But you know, he's gonna Europe it up and do what Uncle Mike does. So I told him he just can't get lost in the Red District or wherever he ends up. So, but hope he has fun over there. He'll be joining us on the next one, I believe. So, yeah, Halloween race. It's gonna be a party. If you're not excited, you're not invited, as Krista says. So,
And can't wait to see your and Davey's costume. And all those
oh,
escapades.
there's such a I gotta go test fit one of them here
Oh,
after
yeah.
this. But beyond that, I want everyone to remember to keep between the pipes, keep it on its wheels. And Jason, we ask our guests, what do we say?
What are we saying? What did I miss?
What do we say?
I'm lost now. Come on.
What is the biggest piece of advice you'd give to a brand new racer? The blanket statement, the generic thing everyone says.
Oh man, just have fun.
Okay, that's good. The other one.
What's the name
I'm
of the
lost.
podcast?
Oh my god. You're killing me. Slow is fast.
There it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
All right. Thank you again. See everyone next time.
Bye.